The Padres have a massive decision to make, not just something that can affect the rest of the year, but something that could affect our entire franchise. What should the Padres do? What can the Padres do? We'll get into all of that in just a second. But before anything, hi, welcome back to another episode of Padres Digest with your host, Andrew. Happy to be back as always. This is an off day episode for you guys. I teased this yesterday, or I guess this morning when the video came out. So I want to talk about this real quick because it was on my mind, but it wouldn't have fit in the normal standard format that I do. But before we get into anything super specific, make sure you guys please subscribe to the channel. We are getting close to 1,000 subscribers, and that makes me very happy. So thank you so much for your support. We don't have any post-game fan reactions because it's not a game reaction, so let's not say that. But let me just pose you this question. A very blasphemous question, a very hot take. Do we need to re-sign Michael King? Like, do we actually need to? Now, let me hit you with some points real quick because I want to hear what you guys think, and I want to explain my thought process. So, my talking points for today: do we have the depth at starting pitcher? And then, can we even re-sign King? Because a couple of things, right? Let's go to the next slide real quick. This is our rotation right now. Michael King technically is not going to be a free agent next year because we do have an option to keep him for $15 million. But if he keeps pitching the way he's been pitching, there's absolutely no way he's taking that option. He's going to be a free agent. And Dylan Cease, of course, is going to be a straight up free agent. And then we have the rest of our rotation. I think Joe Musgrove's not in that. But if you look onto the right, we know that Joe Musgrove obviously is still signed with us, but he's just very injured, such as Matt Waldron. So let's get rid of that real quick. So here's my thought process, right? We've seen this rotation. We've seen them pitch this year, and they have been solid. We've had some hiccups. I mean, like Nick Pivetta had some hiccups. Dylan Cease had some hiccups. But overall, we've been solid, right? And another thing about our financial situation is that we don't love spending anymore. We're not the throwing around $10 billion contracts to players. We're not going to be like that anymore. So, really quickly, I saw these projections. So, Jeff Passan named San Diego Padres starting pitcher Michael King as a potential candidate to receive a $100 million plus contract when he enters free agency at the end of the season. So, Michael King is going to get paid. Can we afford that? Is a completely different question. But let's look at what Michael King means to this team, right? So, first of all, Michael King is amazing. Let's look at these highlights real quick. This is from the game recently, but Michael King is one of the filthiest pitchers in this league. And I mean, just look at the sliders, look at the sweepers. This man 100% knows how to pitch, and we can look at his stats for this year. So, career stats-wise, we'll look at this year real quick, and then we'll go back to that. But his last game on the 12th, like we said, he had 8 strikeouts, 2 earned runs. So his runs have gone up a little bit, but obviously nothing too crazy. We'll take 2 earned runs every start, any day of the week. I mean, his ERA is pretty crazy right now. Let's look at that real quick. So right now he is at let me find it, 2.32 ERA. And last year he had a 2.95, and you go back and back and back, and it's still in the 2s. Now, obviously, he only started, 9 games in 2023, so he already matched his 2023 total this year. So turning him into a starter has been one of the best decisions we could have ever made for this franchise. So, obviously, no one's debating how good Michael King is. We know how good Michael King is. It's just, again, with this tweet, wrong one, this one, $100 million plus contract, which honestly, it kind of seems like a lowball number, to be honest. I could see him making more than just that, but $100 million is still a lot, right? So unless we're signing him, okay, let's put it this way. If we can't sign him to a Merrill-friendly contract, I don't know how much we could afford to pay him. And then let's go to this one then. Obviously, Dylan Cease is going to be a free agent next year. Now, Tim Britton of The Athletic recently predicted that Cease would sign a massive 7-year contract worth $210 million, which is quite a step up from Spotrac's projection of 5 years and $108 million. So, first of all, Cease getting more money than King honestly wouldn't surprise me. but I feel like King is a much valuable player, more valuable player than Dylan Cease. But if somehow Dylan Cease still pitches the way he is, and he's not pitching horribly, don't get me wrong, maybe re-signing Dylan Cease instead of Michael King wouldn't be a bad option if we can't afford Michael King, of course. Obviously, we want Michael King first. But yeah, let's look at the rotation. So we still obviously have Nick Pivetta, Randy Vasquez, Kolek, Darvish is coming back, Musgrove's coming back, Matt Waldron will eventually come back. Johnny Brito, I saw we were going to make him a relief pitcher, but I mean, he still is able to start. So, I mean, it's not a bad thing. And of course, Kyle Hart. So I made this graphic. I accidentally teased it a little bit. But a possible rotation for next year, if we do not sign Dylan Cease or Michael King, we could have Nick Pivetta be the number one if he keeps pitching the way he's been pitching. Yu Darvish second, third Joe Musgrove, Randy Vasquez 4, and then 5 Stephen Kolek, and then Matt Waldron and Kyle Hart as possible options. Obviously, you want to sign more players off this offseason, but this doesn't look bad. So I've always had this theory, right? If you want to win a World Series, you need to have at least a three solid to great starters in the top of your rotation, right? And right now it's Dylan Cease, Michael King, Nick Pivetta. That is a very, very solid 3. Very solid 3. Nick Pivetta, Yu Darvish, Joe Musgrove doesn't seem as solid, but it's definitely not bad as long as everyone pitches to the same level we know they can pitch at. Yu Darvish just made a rehab start. I know Christian's going to make a video on that. Hopefully that comes out after this or before this, so I don't want to... Just look out for it, basically. It'll come out. But if Yu Darvish can pitch as well as we know he can, and Joe Musgrove can pitch as well as we know he can, this is still a solid 1-2-3. And if Stephen Kolek, who I know only has 2 major league starts, if he can still pitch really well, I want him at 5. And Randy Vasquez, I know I just made a video yesterday about how he could possibly just be lucky. But if he's not lucky and he's actually just this good, having him at number 4 doesn't seem that far-fetched, in my opinion. But even then, Matt Waldron was nice last year until people started figuring him out and he got tired. And I still have hope in Kyle Hart. I promise you, I still have hope in Kyle Hart. But let's go back to Michael King real quick, because I love having a nice conversation about Michael King. So, really quickly, actually, before I forgot I had this. We're looking at the length and contracts we got going on, right? So, like I said, Michael King is a $15 million mutual option, including a $3.75 million buyout if he decides to stay next year. Which, again, I don't think he will, but it'd be nice if he did. I mean, I'm happy paying him $15 million. Don't get me wrong. And then we still have Yu Darvish with 2028 escalator, which means he's going to go up a little bit. He's going to get $1 million per Cy Young, which probably isn't going to happen, but I'm happy he has it. But we're going to have Darvish for a while. Joe Musgrove is going to be here for a while, and a full no-trade clause until after next season. And then Nick Pivetta, he has opt-outs after 26 and 27. So we'll have him for 26. He might opt out after 26. We'll see. And then everyone else is usually just under, I'm pretty sure just under arbitration. So we have them for a while. Right? We have them locked up. Okay, but now back to Michael King. So I brought up the Savant page again. I know yesterday I said I'm not great with stats. I'm not that great with stats, don't get me wrong. I want to leave this here for you guys, for the ones who love the statistical stuff. So pause if you want. But looking at Randy Vasquez's and looking at Michael King's, you can see the big difference, right? So for example, the expected ERA versus ERA. I'm looking at the bottom right here. 2.33 right now in 2025, but a 3.11 expected ERA. So, any day of the week, I'm taking a 3.11 ERA. If it's not sub 2, that's fine. 3.11 is still great. I mean, people have probably won Cy Youngs. I don't want to say probably. They have won Cy Youngs with 3.11 ERAs. Not specifically that number, but you know what I mean. Around the 3 range. And then we can look at the top right, the bar graph, I guess you can call it. Pitching run value, fastball run value, off-speed run value. Those are all moving great, or either almost great. ERA, expected batting average, that's in the great areas. Fastball velocity isn't he's not throwing 100 miles per hour, 93.1 at fastball velocity. It's not bad, but when his break is that crazy, look at his whiff rate, it's 69. Nice, that's very nice. Pun slightly intended. But he has some fantastic break. And that's what he is known for. You can watch Pitching Ninja on Twitter. I don't have any videos brought up, but if you can see the way he pitches and how the balls basically like start, like there's a fastball or sorry, like a sweeper and it goes that way. His two seam goes that way, but they all start at the same direction, like they go the same direction, and it fools everybody. It fools me while I'm watching it. Like when you watch, like I said, when you watch Michael King pitch, you know he's great. These stats show it. I can't read between the lines, so I'll leave it up to you guys to read between the lines on this one, but Michael King is great. I also brought up this list of potential free agents next year. I will say a lot of these people are still arbitration eligible. It just doesn't list it on the list I was looking at. So someone like, say, for example, Shane McClanahan. I forgot how to say his name, I'm sorry, but he's still obviously arbitration eligible. Ignore my dogs barking in the background. But, I mean, people like, surprisingly, Chris Paddock, I've seen, has done pretty well. Obviously, I don't know if we want to return with Chris Paddock, but Chris Paddock's not a bad pitcher. I think Zach Gallen's still arbitration eligible. I'm not sure, but someone like Merrill Kelly, who I've seen been solid, he could be a possible option. You can see his value, $18 million. Annual $9 million. I think if we have an option for $15 million for Michael King, I think a Merrill Kelly, if he wants to play a division rival or with a division rival, $9 million is not bad. I'm sure he'll get more, obviously, but we can pay $9 million. Other pitchers, let's see, Clayton Kershaw. Let's see how he does. I don't think Clayton Kershaw is ever going to leave the Dodgers, but maybe in some weird twist of fate, if Clayton Kershaw pitches well and wants to play for the Padres, he's probably relatively cheap. Obviously, we're going to fill in some holes, but I think, like I said, let's go back to that real quick. I think we have a good rotation. If, say, everything goes wrong and we're not able to sign Michael King, I think we have still a solid rotation, and we'll throw in some of those free agents like I showed you guys. But if we don't re-sign Dylan Cease or Michael King, I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. I think we'll be okay. That being said, my personal opinion, throw whatever amount of money you have saved up, Mr. Seidler, give it to AJ Preller, and re-sign that man for literally the end of eternity. I want the Big Bang Part 2 to happen and destroy the entire universe. I want you signed until that happens, because Michael King is that good. Dylan Cease, if we have leftover money, sure. Again, if we get at least one, I'm happy. Let's put it that way. If we get at least one, I'm happy. But let me know what you guys think about this. How badly do you want to re-sign Michael King? Do you want Dylan Cease more? I don't know why you would, but if you want, tell me. Let me know. But let me know what you think about our future possible rotation. And if you think we need to re-sign anyone, or if we're okay, just tell me how you guys feel about all of this. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And of course, go Padres.